Hi, my name is Mafalda and in December 2018 I moved from Portugal to the Netherlands. Today I'm going to share with you 7 topics that I wish I would have known before I moved. Okay, let's go. The first topic that I would like to talk about is to get a BSN number. The BSN number is a free identification number used by the Dutch government for tax and fiscal purposes, but it's also required to get an employment contract. It's also required to get a contract in a house, to buy a car, for healthcare, and so on. The BSN number is also required to benefit from the 30% tax ruling, which I will be addressing in the video later on. So how do you get the BSN number? You need to schedule an appointment with the Rementa house, and this is basically the municipality of the city where we'll be living in. And this appointment has to be an appointment in person. So if you know that you are moving to the Netherlands, you can already call the Rementa house and book your appointment. So once you arrive to the Netherlands, it will be one of the first things that you will do. To get the BSN number, you do not need to pay anything, so this is for free. It usually takes up to 10 days after your appointment with the Rementa house to receive your number, even though some municipalities give you the number at the desk, which was my case. And you need to provide an ID card or a passport to get the BSN number, and you need to provide an address. If you still do not have an address, try to ask your employer to support you and to provide with a valid address. This could be, for example, the address of the office where you'll be working at. So why is this the first topic that I want to address? Because you really need the BSN number to complete a lot of moving activities and to settle in the Netherlands. And usually it takes a long time to get it. I remember that in my case, I was starting my job in January 2019. I moved in December 2018. I made a mistake to only book my appointment in December. This meant that I would only have my BSN number or my appointment in February, which was in my case very late, so about 2 months that I lost, and I could already have the BSN number. As soon as you know, call, book your appointment with the Rementa house, and this should be one of the first things you should do as soon as you move to the Netherlands. The second topic that I would like to discuss is get a place to sleep. In the Netherlands, especially in the bigger cities, it is quite difficult to find an accommodation that fits your requirements. In 2022, it was even an advice from the Dutch government for the international students to not pursue their studies in the Netherlands unless they already had a place to sleep. So it is quite challenging to find a room or an apartment. Therefore, as soon as you know that you are moving to the Netherlands, start looking for a place to stay. There are several websites where you can find a place to stay. I'll link them in the description, but the most famous one is Funda. I found my place actually in another website, in the Expat Rental. I will also put the description below, and there are also, of course, a lot of offer in the Facebook group, especially for individual rooms in shared houses that you can also look into. My recommendations when you are looking, from my experience, when I was looking for a house in Amsterdam, I noticed that it would be much easier to get the house if I was the one visiting the house myself. For me, it was easier because I lived in Portugal. I could travel to the Netherlands before I officially moved to the Netherlands just to look for an apartment. So I stayed 4 days in Amsterdam and I visited several apartments during those days, and I was able to get one apartment. I was lucky to get one apartment, but basically how it works here, from my experience, was that they would publish an apartment available or a room available for rent, and they would book 2 days where they would allow people to come to visit the apartments and the rooms. And I noticed that during these 2 days there were a lot of people. From the moment I was visiting, and I was maybe maximum 10 minutes, there were probably 6 more people also visiting the apartment. So the demand is quite high, and I honestly felt it was like an interview. So I really had to sell myself to prove that I was going to be a very good tenant, and they were basically lucky to have me to rent their apartment. So be at your best behavior, really treat it like an interview to be the lucky one to get the apartment, because it's really quite difficult. If you do not have the opportunity to look for apartments by yourself in the Netherlands, you could either recruit a real estate agent to represent you during these house visits. I felt that this was also like you were the one doing the visits, so that also helps a lot. And if it is also impossible for you to hire a real estate agent, you can also try to do the visits via video call. So the house owner or the real estate agent can at least see you and talk with you via video call, and then you can also see the house by yourself, of course. The third topic that I would like to address is a bank account. One of the first things you do when you move to the Netherlands is, of course, to open a bank account. Most of the banks require this first appointment to be in person. However, some banks have already online forms that you can fill in to open the bank account, and usually you should bring to your appointment in the bank a valid identification card. This can be your BSN card, a passport, a driving license. You should bring your BSN number. You should bring confirmation of your address, for example, the contract, the rental contract that you have, and you should also bring your employment contract. If you are a student, you should bring proof of enrollment in your educational institution as well. There are three main retail banks in the Netherlands. There is the ABN AMRO, there is the ING and the Rabobank, but there are some online banks that have been becoming very popular as well among expats, and from what I hear from my friends, from my expat friends, the bank online banking seems to be working quite well. I do not have personal experience with this bank. The bank that I registered and opened my bank account at the time, so this was in January 2019, I opened with the ABN AMRO, and one of the decisions to open with this bank was because I did not find the fees much higher than the other retail banks, and I found it much more expat friendly. At least at the time, they were the only ones that have the website in English, their app was also in English, and everything in the contract was in English. So I found that very beneficial for who is expat, because Dutch is a very difficult language, especially when we are talking about complex terms regarding the financial institutions. The fourth topic that I would like to mention is health insurance. In the Netherlands, it is mandatory for every adult to have health insurance. Within 4 months after you register to the gemeente house and get your BSN number, you should also have a health insurance. The health insurance has different packages. It has the basic package, and this basic package usually ranges between 100 to 120 euros, and all the health insurances provide this. So this is the minimum that every person should have. Usually this package covers visits to the general practitioner, covers some prescription and some general treatments. An insurance cannot deny your application for the basic package. So it does not matter your gender, your age, or your health situation. The insurance provider cannot deny you from having a basic health package. Then if you want additional coverage for other services like dental care or physiotherapy, then you can pay for an additional health package. And in this additional health package, then the insurance can already assess your gender, your age, or your health condition and conclude if they want you or not. And this, of course, means that you can have a basic health package with one insurance company and an additional health package with another insurance company. Sometimes employers give benefits towards the health insurance, so they will cover a percentage of your health insurance, so try to see if your employer has this benefit. The fifth topic is the 30% ruling. The 30% ruling is a 5-year Dutch tax exemption. In order to benefit from this tax exemption, you need to meet some criteria, which I will name a few. First, you have to have lived 150 kilometers further from the border of the Netherlands in the last 24 months. At least 16 months, you should have lived 150 kilometers away from the Dutch border. So this means that for people who lived in Belgium, in Luxembourg, and in some parts of Germany, France, and the UK, they will not be able to benefit from this tax exemption because they lived within 150 kilometers from the Dutch border. Then you have to have a specific expertise that does not exist or is very hard to find in the Netherlands. And how do they assess this? Is via the salary that you receive. For employees who receive more than 39,467 euros per year, you can benefit from this tax exemption, of course, if you meet the other criteria. But if you receive less than this amount per year, then you already cannot benefit from this tax exemption. Then you have to work for a company that is registered in the Netherlands and pays payroll in the Netherlands as well. And finally, do not forget to agree with your employer that they will support you to get this benefit. From my processes to get this tax exemption, I always needed the support from my employer to communicate with the government and to get the tax exemption. There is less strict criteria for people who have a master's degree and are younger than 30 years. For example, the minimum salary is no longer 39,467 per year, but then it decreases for 30,000 per year. And for people who are pursuing a PhD or are pursuing a doctoral research, there are some benefits regarding where did they live. Living 150 kilometers away from the Dutch border criteria is no longer applicable for some of these cases. I'll leave the official government website in the description below, so you can research by yourself which criteria could apply. The sixth topic is get a bike. The Netherlands is very famous for its bikes. There are more bikes than people in the Netherlands. And why is so? Because Netherlands is basically a flat country. It is very easy to cycle for all ages and for all physical conditions, but it is very safe to cycle here. So what I noticed that is very different from the other countries, it's that the infrastructure is very well set up for people to cycle safely. Usually you always have a cycling path whenever you go in the Netherlands, and the cars here, especially the cars, they respect very well the people who are cycling. And I also notice usually the cyclists have priority in the turns, they have priority in roundabouts, so that also increase the safety and the confidence that people have cycling around. And of course, the benefits of cycling is that you do not pay gasoline, you do not pay very high costs on maintenance, you do not pay parking, you do not need to go around the block several times to find a parking place. So the case in favor of bicycles is very strong. Therefore, my recommendation is for you to get a bike. There are several ways for you to get a bike. You can buy a new bike. I bought my bike in Decathlon. It was a new bike and it cost around 400 euros there. So you can always search which bikes are available in Decathlon. You can visit the store and find for yourself which bike is more suitable for you. What I really like, it was a new bike, so I knew it would be a more reliable bike, and also because I can do maintenance of the bike. I usually do once a year and it's quite cheap compared with other bicycle stores in the Netherlands. So I'm very happy with my bicycle from Decathlon. I bought it in December 2018 as soon as I moved to the Netherlands, and I'm still using the same bike. I do maintenance once a year on the bike. Then you can buy a second-hand bike. Usually people say this, but there's no way to prove. Usually the second-hand bikes can be stolen bikes. It is very common for bikes to get stolen here in the Netherlands, even in front of your house and even during daytime. So be careful with the bike that you are purchasing, as a second-hand could be a stolen bike. I'm not sure how could they prove that is a stolen bike, but yes, you can be cycling one day on the road and then someone says, hey, that is my bike, and then you have some type of a problem. Anyway, I will link in the description below a website that is very famous to buy bicycles, but also other items, which is the Marketplace. I will give that to you. And then there is a third option where you do not purchase a bike, but you rent a bike. There is this company that is called SwapFits, and for a monthly fee, which can range around 40 euros until 80 euros, depending on the type of bike you choose, you can rent a bike. I used this service for some months where I had my bike in Amsterdam, but I was traveling quite a lot to another city, to Utrecht, so I decided to use the service to get the bike in Utrecht. And what I really like is that if you have any issue with the bike, it is very convenient. You just bring your bike to the shop and they will fix it for you with no additional costs. At least that happened with me at the time in 2020. And yes, you do not have to invest all the additional money in a new bike, and you don't need to worry about having issues with the bike because they will always support you. This is good because anytime, any month you want to cancel, you can cancel your contract with no further expenses. And yes, I find this service very convenient. It's also a way to save some initial investment for yourself. I'll also put the link in the description below for SwapFit. The seventh and final topic is to get an OV-chipkaart. An OV-chipkaart is basically the card that you need to use to travel in all the public transports in the Netherlands. With this card, you do not need to buy a ticket for every single trip that you do. With this card, you need to put credit in euros in the card. You need to choose some services that the card has, for example, a monthly service or just a traveling service, and the card costs only €7.50 and it's valid for 5 years. With this card, you put, as I said, credit in euros in the card. Then you enter in the public transport. You need to pass the card in a card reader as soon as you enter in the public transport. So basically you do the check-in. And once you want to leave the public transport, you need to pass again the card in the card reader to do the checkout. In this way, the system will know exactly the amount they need to charge you. If you do not do the checkout, the system can charge you much more than what you actually use the public transport for. And if you do not do the check-in, there could be some consequences if someone comes to check if you did the check-in the card or not. If you did not do, then you are subject to a fine. So always make sure that with this card you do the check-in and the checkout. And it's a very convenient card, as I said. You don't need to purchase every time you want to travel a new ticket. You just pass this card. And that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Have a great day!